Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel outside the target demographic. Today we're going to be talking about the results of a warranty repair through Bushnell. Let's get started. So I sent out 3 scopes to Bushnell to get warranty repairs done on them. And the irony of the situation is, in order for me to send these scopes in for repair, I had to provide the make, model, serial number of the scopes. This becomes ironic because the paperwork for the 2 scopes that came back stated that the serial number suggested this one was made in 1974 and this one was made pre-2002, before, you may notice a Tasco there, before Bushnell acquired Tasco, which means neither one of these were covered by their warranty. So I spent $18 sending 3 scopes into Bushnell. I contacted them through phone or I think it was email, to see if the warranties would be covered, if the solution would be available. And in order to turn in these scopes, I had to wrap them in paperwork that provided the make, model, serial number. That paperwork, while physical on my end, was digital on their end, and they were able to see, based on that serial number, before I even took the time, money, effort, energy of submitting those scopes, that they would not be covered by the warranty. So that's a result of sorts. What we have with both of these scopes is the reticule inside them has broken. So I'm going to do the best I can. Bear with me here. So you can see at the, I believe it's the 9 o'clock position, the larger part of the reticule, before it goes down to a very thin, the middle of the reticule there, is broken. So every time I fire, it's going to flap around a little bit. That metal is going to fatigue over time, and eventually it's going to break. The same issue with this Tasco. Now, part of why I'm making this video is to show you what my solution is going to be, but I have gone ahead and pulled the scope apart. I have found the reticule inside, and I don't even know if I'm going to be able to show you this one either. We have, nope, focus. Well, anyways, you'll have to take my word for it. We have a circle in the middle with the same type of duplex crosshairs that we had on the other one. The difference is this one has that circle in the middle. I'm going to try, let's see if we can find a smoother sheet of paper here. So, like that. So same thing, where the reticule has lost its thickness to go into a very fine wire, we have a break. So the irony that they had the make, model, serial number, they knew that these would be coming in. I had stipulated the issue was the fact that the reticules were broken, to be told that the repairs are not possible and to send the scopes back. I mean, you don't know until you try, I suppose, but I feel like there's almost literally nothing more I could have done to let them know that this was going to be the return issue, and this is what we have. So the one nice thing is the 3rd scope, you'll notice, is absent here. The 3rd scope that I sent in, I saw an email saying that they were trying to source parts for it, and then I came home today to a brand new replacement scope. Did not order this, so when I looked, it is a 3x9 by 40 millimeter, which is the same reticule and magnification and diameter as the scope I had sent in. For those of you not in the know, we have a 3x9 times, so it is a variable power scope. If you've ever used binoculars, some of them are variable power too. Consider it the zoom on your phone as you're taking a picture or a video. you start out pretty wide, and then you can zoom in to take pictures of birds or something in a tree, something to that effect. So when I look through at the lowest magnification, things will appear either 3 times larger or 3 times closer, whichever way you'd like to think about it. And I can set it anywhere infinitely between 3 and 9 times zoom. So I don't have a mechanical lockout where I can set it to 3, set it to 4, set it to 5. I can adjust the distance between the internal lenses however I want to. I could have a 3.07843 time magnification depending on distance and how much around the target I want to see and all that stuff. The 40 millimeter will refer to your opening optic. So on this one, we are, if from here to here is about 1 inch. This one is a smaller optic than this one. The benefit is this larger one will absorb more light in low light conditions, dusk and dawn, as it were, and you should be able to get a clearer quality image more often, especially when there is low light. So pretty decent enough optic for what it is. I think I looked this one up online and it's a $100 model. So at least one of my scopes was replaced. Again, the email had stipulated that they are trying to order parts for it. So maybe I'll be getting that scope back. It's an older one. I'm of the opinion the older something is, the more reliable something is, and the more durable it is. The irony of that statement being that's one of the scopes I sent in. But what failed on the original one of these is the zoom ring. So you have a ring here, and this one's going to be, I don't know if it tells you, a 1.5 by 4.5 times 20. So you have a 20 millimeter wide original or front glass. I believe it's the objective lens. And then you have a 1.5 to 4.5 time zoom or magnification. So what I can do is, while this is mounted on my rifle, I can move it to a 3 time. And now again, same as this one. My magnification, or how close the object is going to appear to me, is going to be either 3 times bigger or 3 times closer, whichever way you would like to think about that. So this will give me a almost 1-to-1. So a 1-time magnification would be the human eye unaided. So it is the same size through the scope as you would have with the human eye. The benefit is you don't have to line up the irons. We're going to roll this guy in. I do like this for those of you who have not seen it. This is my new to shooting or training the basics into people sight picture analog, registered trademark, do not steal. Do, in fact, make copies of this. But basically how I explain it to people is I take 3 paper plates. This is your target. You're going to be looking here. Cut the paper plate so it lines up with the rim. That's going to be your front sight, and then you bring in your rear sights. So the idea is you're going to keep both eyes open. You're going to be aware and control your breathing, not necessarily stop breathing. You will apply pressure to the trigger, not snap it or, break the trigger. You want to slowly apply to make it go off, and you want equal height, equal light. So you want your sights to be lined up. You don't want them like this. You don't want them like that. You don't want them like this. You want them equal height and equal light in between them, and you'll line them up with your target. Again, the replacement one I may be getting in. I don't know if they have the replacement part for the zoom ring. It's literally just a screw, but it doesn't have a head. It's just a threaded portion with an Allen built into the shaft, as it were. So I'm hoping I may be getting that one back. I did like the older one as opposed to the newer, probably made in China, scope. But that is the results of our returns through Bushnell. To be fair, full disclosure, the 2 scopes that they sent back They said they would not be able to repair, so they provided me a link where I can get 25% off any product on their website times 2. So if I wanted to replace these, I can. They gave me 25% off. I can go ahead and get a bigger, better scope. I can get one that's analogous to this guy. So they did give me a pretty decent, sizable discount on another one of their products. It's just unfortunate that these are pretty standard. I think they're 34 millimeter, 30 millimeter bodies. You would think that they would be able to, as I did on my couch as a layman, unscrew this ring and put in a different reticule, as they are a repair center, but that's what we have. So what I'm going to be doing with these, that's the cuckoo clock, everyone should have one, with these scopes, is I'm going to be trying to address the broken reticules on both of them. So the one should just be a typical X shape. The other one has the benefit of a circle. It gives you a little bit faster target acquisition, and you are not obscuring your target. You have a little circle that you're going to be able to look through, almost like a keyhole, to look at your target instead of covering your target with this one. So we have a couple different things that we can do here. And one of them is try and replace the part. Unfortunately, in the research that I've done so far, I do not see any of these available on eBay. And since I went ahead and sent both of these into the actual manufacturer, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to source them that way either. So replacing would be an option. The second one is repairing. So the problem we're going to run into here is, while I thought this was metal, and I'm sure it is, I can't even get the camera to focus on this. Honestly, I think the only reason you can see this is the fact that we have a high contrast background with a very powerful light and very noticeable shadows. So the idea was I could pull this and I could use a soldering iron. And what that's going to do is essentially heat up a small amount of lead. Once you apply it to a metallic surface, you'll put it in essentially like a glob, and it will spread itself thin across a piece of metal. Typically, it's used for combining wire sections together or soldering a component onto a circuit board, something like that. I don't see that working very well because the sheer amount of heat is probably enough to just go ahead and melt right through this very thin wire. So that was the original idea. The second idea I came up with is maybe I can glue it. Glue being what it is, glue is designed to hold two things together, and that works best when you're not constantly shaking the thing. Constantly shaking the thing includes pulling the trigger on a firearm and accelerating a projectile to over the speed of sound. So the recoil that you're going to generate into your shoulder, into the 7-pound, 9-pound, 10-pound rifle recoiling, is also going to be transferred to, granted, not a lot of mass, but to these metal filaments. So I don't know that glue is going to work too well. And the problem with glue, unlike the soldering iron, is the soldering iron will dissipate that lead across a certain surface area. Glue is essentially going to glob on there. Now, when you're trying to focus on a animal, a target, a paper plate at 100 yards, you really don't need what looks like a perpetual raindrop on the device you're using to present a targeting solution, as it were. So I thought maybe I can use some clear coat nail polish. I carry that as part of my everyday carry kit, myriad of uses for that. That would come with a brush applicator, which is going to simplify the process, and that will ideally, as a very thin liquid, very unviscous, it's going to, like the lead, hopefully dissipate itself across a certain surface area. My concern with that is once it dries, you're dealing with a acrylic sealant, essentially. I don't know what that's going to chemically do to this metal, and I don't know how well or how long that's going to hold up to shock. And we're going to end up with the same thing. Now, it doesn't cost me much, so that may be a solution. I'm not necessarily concerned about the reflectivity of the clear coat, as the light is going to be coming from the other side. The side that's pointing at me is the side that I will apply it on, so my eye will be blocking essentially any light coming in from the back of the scope. So the only light would be coming in this way. So I don't know that that's going to affect anything as far as light refraction or reflection or color differences or anything like that. So we have repair, we have replace. Another solution I came up with is remove. So if you look up, and I'll try and post here, the Germans in World War II had developed a sniper reticule where they have a very thick line like this and a thicker line here. And the idea would be that you can confirm any kind of rotational pitch in your rifle to make sure that you're lined up perfectly vertical, and then you'd put your target in the center. Well, that kind of looks like this guy, doesn't it? So if I were to get rid of the already broken piece, like this, due to the source of the light, then I essentially have this targeting reticule. So if we rotate this guy 180 degrees and cut that leg off, I'm going to have a reticule like this. And then this part I will delete. So now I know which way's up. I don't need to worry about having that component there. The other three legs are currently holding it, and I have the benefit of not having a flapping piece of metal in there that could possibly destroy the other reticules, or start scratching glass or something like that. So I can remove, and we have the same thing here. If I delete this leg, then I will have all three legs are already joined. This top leg I will delete, and now I can reuse the current rings and just delete the part that I don't need. So that remove may be the other option there. So we have replace, we have repair, we have remove, and if those don't work, then the next one we have is rebuild. So I've looked at a couple different YouTube videos. I have a ring. The ring is good. All it does is it threads into, I don't even know if it's worth bothering, but probably about, I believe it's right about here. So call it 2.5 inches inside the scope is a threaded collar. And this guy will thread into that. So I know my ring is good. Should clear coating it not work, or removing the broken damaged leg not work, and again the benefit, short side note here, since this doesn't have an index, all I have to do is keep screwing this into place until the side that I delete, the leg that I delete, is pointing upwards. So if this is the side that doesn't have the leg, I can just tighten this in the rest of the way until the one that is missing is oriented at the noon top center, in which case that would leave me with the German-esque reticules. So again, if none of those work, I've seen a couple of YouTube videos where if I check, and I guess while I'm here with you, we can do that. I don't see it on here. There may be this thicker brass ring that I may need to replace, or I could just go on top of it. But what they had recommended is if you have hot glue gun or super glue or some kind of adhesive, you can literally use your own hair and make your own crosshairs, allow the glue to dry, cut the remnants that you don't need anymore, and that will give you a reticule as thin and as reflective as the one that you can barely see in my hand because it's not focusing. So I have a couple different options here. Occam's razor, the easiest solution is usually the best one, or the most likely one. So I'm going to attempt to clear coat this with some nail polish. If the clear coat doesn't work, we're going to move to deleting the leg. If deleting the leg doesn't work, we're going to move to a full replacement. So the beauty of this is if I determine that there are different orders and determine the order to do them in, I can reuse this existing part 3 different times to try 3 different solutions. So while they were not able to repair the scope, I now have a scope that is essentially useless. I have nothing to lose. I can go ahead and attempt to rebuild this guy, replace this guy, or repair this guy, and see if I can't get something maybe a little custom. While looking through the reticule, I'll know what rifle I'm shooting and know what my zeros are as well. So that's about where I am with this project currently. I will go ahead and attempt each one of those repairs, replace, or removes, and I will report back to you with how they work out. I'll try and show you through the scope how that looks. We'll attempt zeroing them and seeing if they're still viable, and we will take it from there. So, as always, any questions, comments, concerns you have, go ahead and leave those in the comments section below. If you would like to criticize or critique favorably my drawing ability, there's a reason I work on medical equipment and technology, and I am in no way an artist, go ahead and leave that in the comments section as well. As always, I appreciate you guys stopping by. Any insights you have would be appreciated as well. And until the next one, I will see you in the next video.